Hello everyone, this is Serious Trivia. Welcome back to our Subscriber Game Tournament Season 2 as we continue with our Round 3 time trials, here featuring Trivenicus. So looking at his army composition, we have Lü Bu, Cao Cao, two fastest generals in the game, plus Liu Zhang, who has that ceasefire ability that can put a stop to any enemy unit and friendly units from running away, and that makes things slightly more interesting here. In terms of the unit choices, we have Xiliang Cavs on Lü Bu and Northern Lancers on Cao Cao, which are excellent units, but they're a bit slow. Their max speed of 94 after the speed bonus makes them much slower than my militia Lancer Cavalry, which are 119 after their speed bonus. And on top of that, Liu Zhang brought two Dongzhou Bing, which I think is a poor choice on this map, as I will never be close enough to that unit for their range to be a factor, and they're way too slow to ever catch up to me. So we'll see how this goes. The general's choices are great, the unit choices are a little bit suspect. So looking at deployment here, we can see that they have deployed far back, no guerrilla advancements, because I think Cao Cao and Liu Zhang does not have guerrilla deployment, so Trivenicus probably didn't feel comfortable with Lü Bu and the units pushing up by themselves in case they get ambushed by my troops early on. Probably a wise choice. And taking a look at the early movement, I decided to immediately surprise attack, which makes me invisible as I'm pulling all the units to the side. Now I know that there's Liu Zhang on this map, or at least I will know very soon once I see him. And once I take note of that, I have to spread my units out, because if I ever get ceasefired, that obviously would be a group of unit that is just doomed. So as much as I can spread out, the better. Now because there's just absolutely no vision of me for him, since I went surprise attack from the beginning, Trivenicus is just pushing forward. Not really spread out wide enough in my opinion. I think the initial deployment should have been way wider, and then just a forward push would be better. There's a lot of hesitation because there's just no vision. He's in the center of the map and sees nothing, which obviously is never a comforting fact, as I decided that my generals should be farther away from my units, since going together here with Liu Zhang is probably not a good idea. So I guess instead of seeking blindly, Trivenicus decided to just wait and hopefully time out my surprise attack. But he doesn't realize that with this much distance and all these small bumps on the field, he actually can't gain vision of me even after my surprise attack have ended, as I think at this point he still has absolutely no idea where my units are. And the hesitation to not spread out his cavalry, even if he should lose one or two of them, and just to discover where I am, is definitely an issue. Now they're finally spreading. Still too tightly packed, a wider spread would be better. In this case, I think using your keyboard for the movement rather than your mouth would be better. So at this distance, we discover each other, of course, and you can see the units start shifting up. I decided to pull the generals to offer him something else to chase, because I really don't want to lose my generals in this case. I don't know if Liu Zhang's close or not. What he can't see, I can't see either. Now, what I'm most proud of is pulling these 6 units away without giving up that vision. Okay, we can see the combat starting here. I'm surprised there's no Dragon Gaze usage here to just pause these 2 units, but I guess he's going for a bigger target. But letting my generals run away is probably not a smart move, as these cavalry could have easily came over here and just done the chasing themselves. So I think this is definitely a bit of micro issue where they're not spreading. They're probably in one big group and they're being told to charge at one target, which is why they're kind of crowding now. But these 4 are just completely dead. Now he finally probably circled these 4 to chase that one. These 2 are still on the original target. My generals peeled off, and I should have surprise attack back on very soon, so they will disappear. These 2 might be discovered soon since I got them a little bit closer, but if I start pulling this way, maybe they're fine. At the same time, I'm pulling my units that were in this corner to the opposite corner, because I know I'm bringing my generals to that corner. So the longer I can make these stay hidden, we're just basically rotating around the edges of the map. So those 4 are done, but not really. The pursuit, there we go. I'm trying to peel this one off because he seems to have lost interest for a moment, but he returns, sending everyone once again. I think the group command, well, it's a habit from campaign. It doesn't optimize your microing. But with that said, my generals are still being chased very, very hard. I should have surprise attack back on. I guess we're just not using it. But it's pretty, you know, like even if I use it right now, where am I going? Obviously to this corner. So even if I use it, it's not like I can hide. There we go, I do use it. If they had a charge command, they would slow down. So it looks like they don't have a charge command, or I haven't pulled enough distance to disappear. Once I go down that hill, maybe. If they suddenly stop, it means they had a charge command and now they lost vision. But it looks like they're just continuing forward. So they're being selected to go to a location. Yeah, they lost vision. They're just going towards the location, which is good. But if they don't spot me here, they stopped. They lost vision. Yeah, that little small delay. So I'm guessing they're gonna check the corner at least, and maybe a few units turn this way in case I'm not at the corner. So maybe commit one cavalry to the corner. No, there's just too much hesitation when you don't see the enemy. I have to be somewhere. They gotta keep moving. Yeah, unfortunately, these are clearly grouped into one number, and they're being pushed around in the same direction. So maybe if I gambled in the corners, I could have stayed there, but obviously surprise attack wore off, which is why he gained vision again, and I'm still running. Going to the other corner, these guys should start going down, or I can start peeling towards the middle, away from them, because they have a pretty comfortable spot right now, and this distance, they probably can't see them. So if I just don't bring them over, those 6 will not have army loss even if I lose my generals. Because we tested it before in the previous match when we had only 2, they would just rout away. So we ended up keeping 4, and I peeled 2 off to maybe help peel for my generals. Because the best outcome would be the generals stay alive for as long as possible. Maybe another surprise attack in 3 minutes. So we have to stop these generals from chasing me. Because these 2 are way too fast. And maybe intercepting them with these 2 cavalry. And it worked! They went for the cavalry. As you can see by that command there. They stopped. They changed their mind. They're gathering... Are they scared of the cavalry? It spooked them away. So that's what happened. Yeah, when I saw them peel off, I'm like, okay, maybe I'm not needed. I'm gonna send the other direction and see what they do. Well, that's very interesting. So they got scared of fighting these 2 cavalry. I think as long as there's reinforcement that's relatively close, you should always get into fights. That way I can't get my units away. There was no charge command given, except for this unit maybe? Because this guy's still going in a weird direction. Okay, so now my thinking is I need to go to the opposite. You can see how far those units are. I need to get to this corner to hide these 4. And then these 2 need to go to that corner away from these 2. And in the end, hopefully I have 2 units there, 4 units here. And even if my general dies, I die somewhere in the middle. And then just wait it out as they have to cover both corners. And once again, fatigue kicks in. And Samawe being the slowest one, just can't get that speed up. I think we're close enough to maybe another surprise attack. But at this point, giving him up is probably a better decision, which is what we did here. I think once the units come, it's pretty hopeless. We could potentially run into a different direction, or just stay and fight. Get a couple nice slam down before we go. See if we can get a dismount, trying to do some damage to the generals, but there's just way too many things around me and my health is dying. Can I get a Flame of Phoenix out before I die? Can I get a Flame of Phoenix? I hit Lu Bu for 1 hit, and we did get our Flame of Phoenix. That's pretty much it. That's all we can do here. We hit Lu Bu for about 5k, and bought us some time. We should have surprise attack on. Yep, and we disappeared again. I don't think they have the distance to actually see me. So they're just going blind again. And I'm trying to do a cutback, which is risky because they could see me. So then I decided, you know, maybe we circle back the other way and trick them to chase that direction while we go back to the corner. It's all mind games at this point. But it didn't work because these two generals came over here. And then we decided that, okay, let's go here then. They're going to check here and go here. Maybe we just go here. I was hesitating like crazy here, trying to read where they're going. Because I know they can't see me. I can see that I'm invisible. So this type of spread out is definitely really good. I still have these in the back. Alright, in the end we just went for this way. And they're gonna spot me here, I think. I have 4 seconds left on surprise attack anyways, so all that hesitation didn't really do us any good, except for maybe pushing Lu Bu and Cao Cao to the corner. Everyone's pressing up to the line. What he doesn't know is that I have 2 in this corner, which were the 2 over there that I offered. But then the hesitation on that part, they didn't actually chase. I have 2 on this corner, 4 in this corner, and then we're running this way. And I still have 2 in this corner as well. So I have 8 units that are still sort of alive. My generals are fatigued. They've been running the whole match. And there is no getting out for Sima Zhong here. We can roar all we want. We can use our axe. No amount of leopard print is going to save us. Especially when Lu Bu and them show up. Yep, here he is. You just ignored me? I guess Cao Cao got me. I feel disrespected. Alright, here comes that ceasefire. It finally worked. He finally caught up. See, the problem about Liu Zhang and ceasefire is you might have an ability that freezes people. You have to catch them first. That movement, because I entered the attack, so it's just a little attack movement. I dismounted to make sure that with 50% damage resistance, maybe I can return as much damage as I can to Lu Bu, but the distance so far, I can't get any swings on him. If he got closer, maybe I could have killed him. That was my thought here. Because Twin Swords has one of the fastest attack speeds in the game. And if I was just next to him, maybe we could have done more. I'm surprised he's not actually coming towards me, as though he has no attack order on me. That's also curious. Here he comes, here he comes. Let's see if I can do any damage on him. It doesn't do much. We're not actually landing hits, huh? There we go, 3k, 4k, 6k, 7k. I got knocked by Liu Zhang. But yeah, if we had that 50% resistance during that whole time. But now, you can see that my 3 generals have all died. But since I have so many of my cavalry, where the army bar is not so low, they're not suffering any army loss. So I'm still at all 4 corners. Well, this one moved, but I'm still at all 4 corners, still trying to flee. So there's 4 units there. There's 2 here, and there's 2 at this corner that's now running. And we're just running. Now there's a couple units off to the side that will bump into us. I decided to pull them together to maybe just speed up these 2. They boost way too fast, as you can see. So exposing yourself at any time makes things rather difficult. Also, I knew what the cutoff time was, and I knew we were past the cutoff time, so I didn't need to stall it any longer. As much as it might not be a pleasure to watch just a runaway match, trust me, it's less of a pleasure to play a runaway match 6 times. So knowing that it's past 1337 and that Trivenicus already been eliminated, I decided we're just going to go for a charge and just end this fight here and see how much damage I can do. And obviously with all the Dragon's Gaze abilities, I really don't stand a chance. These two can't move, those 2 can, so I'm just trying to chase Lu Bu down here. But really not much I can do. And we got ceasefire, which doesn't really hurt us that bad. And we'll just try to fight this one out until we all rout. And I don't think we kill Lu Bu by the end. Yep. And that was the match. I think the major piece of this was the initial escape, where my units scattered while invisible, and there was no unit that was left behind to check. And during that pursuit, multiple times during the pursuit, once I entered stock, the units just basically didn't have any command to follow up. They should continue to push forward in a wider stance, because you're just trying to get vision coverage. And anytime you have a fight, like for example near the end there, I started the fight here, Lu Bu was all the way over there, and he definitely can get here in time to join in that fight, and my units would just die. So as the pursuing side, you don't really want to avoid any fights. You're very eager to get into fight as long as there's a unit close enough, or as long you can respond fast enough once you notice a fight. And that pretty much didn't happen. I also picked up a few lessons from the earlier battles where not to keep too few units hidden on the corners. This time we had 8 at the end, so even though my generals lost, my non-unbreakable units had enough to preserve the army strength to not suffer any army loss, and we were able to basically play 3 corners of the map and force the match to go longer. And the numbers here doesn't really matter, but unit choice does. Well, Liu Zhang has a really cool ceasefire ability, and it definitely did work a little bit. I mean, he stopped one of the generals at the end, so probably delayed maybe 30 seconds away, but during the entire duration, I also will have 50% damage resistance. So I don't think this is the fastest solution unless you expect to stall all 3 enemy generals together, or a huge chunk of my army with one ceasefire, which I would really never give you the opportunity to do so. Like if I see Liu Zhang running at my 3 generals, I would run them 3 separate directions to only lose one of them. And you would have just as long a cooldown period as my surprise attack, which means if you want to use 3 individual ceasefires, the match will go on for at least 10-minute plus. And at that point, I sort of achieved my goal. And not bringing cavalry and using spear is definitely not the way to go here, as I will never fight these units, and they will never be able to fight me if I don't want to fight them. So that's going to do it. 1603, which would automatically eliminate Trivenicus from our top 8. It was great having him for the tournament, and so far Vermilion Bird still has the cutoff time of 13:37, and we'll see how our final 2 contestants do in this round 3. So until then, bye!